Thanks so much for joining us. Let's talk about a few things. I'm sure you got a lot of important things, but I know you did a very important video about the following story: the Afghan national who killed a National Guardswoman in Washington D.C. and injured another guard. Here's a little bit of a video on that.
Thanks, guys. We begin with a Fox News alert now. America is mourning one of the West Virginia National Guardsmen shot on Wednesday, just blocks away from the White House. President Trump announcing the tragic news that 20-year-old Sarah Beckstrom has passed away. 24-year-old Andrew Wolf remains in critical condition. This is the Faulkner Focus. Hello, everyone. I'm Julie Banderas in for Harris today. D.C.'s emergency responders paid respects to Sarah Beckstrom last night with a dignified transfer of her body from the hospital to the medical examiner. President Trump, meantime, speaking out about those victims last night.
She was savagely attacked. She's dead. She's not with us. Incredible person. Outstanding in every single way, in every department. That's horrible. The other young man is fighting for his life. He's in very bad shape. He's fighting for his life, and hopefully we'll get better news with respect to him.
Reactions pouring in for Beckstrom. West Virginia Governor Patrick Morrisey says, quote, Sarah served with courage, extraordinary resolve, and an unwavering sense of duty to her state and to her nation. We mourn the loss of a young woman who gave everything she had in defense of others.
Okay, Mansur. So the video here keeps going and talks about this thing about the heroism of this of Beckstrom's life. She passed away from being shot, and there's another person fighting for their lives. But you've covered the story now extensively, and I guess the real question is this jihadism, or as some have claimed that the guy who did it had some mental issues? He was an Afghani. He had helped the CIA. Tell us more about the story and what you think that is the lesson here.
So first of all, my sincere condolences for the families who lost their dear ones, and also my utmost respect for the law enforcement and the brave men and women who stopped this jihadist from murdering more American citizens. In my video, I addressed it, for on one hand, from a professional perspective, as you know, someone who was in the special forces and who was in the defense and the offense defending the state of Israel, and seeing a few things that could have probably maybe even saved lives and prevented extra life. When you see the suspect, the jihadist, when he's running, shouting Allah Akbar, you can see already that some of the American National Guard, I think, he is actually running away from him. Now, in the first thing that you do, you should never turn your back to an enemy that is running at you.
Right.
That doesn't give you any advantage over the fight. But apparently, they're not allowed to put their magazine inside their pistols. So when someone suddenly comes and starts doing intifada revolution, and let's face it, America sadly is going to have more intifada revolutions like these ones. They asked for it and now they're getting it, and it's terrible. But that's what happened, guys. And you're going to have to reassess how do you take these things, because if someone is standing out there with a uniform and he doesn't have his magazine inside of his weapon, he's just making himself a target.
Right.
That person going to charge at him, and he ran away, turned his back to him, start loading, and then came back and took him. And in that time, he managed to empty a few more bullets into the heads of these victims, which could have stopped it. Now, we both know from Israel that there's a lot of techniques and training. I'm sure that the American Special Forces, Armed Forces know it. There is easy ways to pull your weapon and load it as you pull it, and just point and even let a bullet go in less than a second.
I mean, it's funny to me. It's funny to me that we have to tell the Americans about how to shoot. I mean, frankly, the Americans are the best in the world at shooting in so many ways. It's a question of attitude. It's a question of attitude. Last week, Mansur, I was training, anti-terror training, 2 days. My fingers hurt. You see, I got a boo-boo in my hand here. Okay, from training. I was working hard, and I was training with some of Israel's very, very best. And you're absolutely right. We know how to respond quickly, but at the end, it's a question of attitude. Do you want to beat the bad guys or not? And when we have a government that is against us beating the bad guys, then we're suppressed. We have an attitude like our minister of national security says, no, I want you guys to be armed. I want you guys to kill bad guys when they come to hurt Jews, hurt Israelis. We are more at the ready. It's not just a question of technique; it's a question of attitude, isn't it?
Yeah, and it saddens to say, but once you allow Islam into your country, and especially if you allow unfiltered Islam into your country, you will end up facing the same thing that Israel has been dealing with for the last 25 years. And the only difference is that Israel is a million years ahead of you already in that game. So you're going to start having more and more policies changing very soon. Look at Germany. I'm in Germany right now, and I made a video that actually I made it like half joking, half not joking, and it reached more than 2 million views already.
Wow.
Just showing the barricades that they have in Christmas markets, how Christmas markets in Germany are looking like a post-apocalyptic market.
Wow.
Every year they have more barricades. Soon they're going to have barbed wires around it, anti-terror spikes coming out of the floor, police. So once you allow Islam into your country, slowly, you will start having more measures to defend your women and children from being murdered in their holidays. And also you will start implying more and more measures to silence people that will come and start telling you, what are you doing? Like, look at the UK. They literally can put people in jail for tweeting, what are you doing to our country? So this happens only when you bring Muslims to your country. It doesn't happen when you bring Jews to your country, when you bring Druze to your country, when you bring Christians to your country. Germany didn't need to change anything about Christmas when the Polish start coming here, or when the Druze, or when the Jews. It's when they allowed Islam. People don't like to hear it. People don't like to say it. It is what it is, guys. And we saw it right now regarding this Afghani. First of all, it's very controversial because on one hand, I do understand America, and you were in a war in Afghanistan. You had some of the best and bravest of the Afghanis, shoulder to shoulder, standing with you, protecting your lives, and also helping you help them reclaim their country from radical Islam and radical jihad. Now, suddenly under Biden, they just abandoned them, just left out of nowhere, boom, completely out, left them for the worst fate ever. They're going to suffer. Them and their families are all at high risk. Many of them probably died by the hands of Taliban because they helped the Americans. The Americans left them behind. America did feel a little bit uncomfortable about it and initiated a beautiful initiative, kind of to bring these people to their country. But here comes the problem. And that's what I tell my viewers back home as someone who studied Islam, who comes from the Arab world, who was a negotiator in the army as well. When a Christian or a Jew, let's say, come to your country, and then they have a rough day, their life is destroyed, they lost their job, his wife left him, his best friends betrayed him. If they fall down to rock bottom and they turn to the religion, most likely that religion is going to empower them to think Hevel Havalim, vanity of vanities. What's important is your faith, your relationship with God and with man, and will bring them on a better path. In Islam, the problem in that religion is that inherently it promotes violence. So the only Muslim countries in the world that don't have extreme violence roaming all over the society is the ones that have really strict rules to contain it, because it is a violent religion. So when you have someone who is a Muslim in your country, and there's many peaceful Muslims, beautiful, some of my best friends are Muslims, but you're always stuck with that question, what will happen if things will go sideways in his life? Or I was just talking to a man from Nigeria. His name is Steven, and he have a big YouTube channel there, Frank, and Nigerian Perspective. He's a Christian in Nigeria, and they're slaughtering Christians right now, the Muslims in Nigeria. And he came in and he said, the problem is, it's like three. You ask yourself, if his friends, jihadists, will come to kill me, all of a sudden they became a majority in the city and they're looking for the Jews or the Christians. Will my Muslim friend call me and warn me? Will he just ignore it? Or will he join them? On October 7, with the Druze also in Syria and in Israel, we saw that many of the friends of the Jews were the one that actually joined in the killing. So that is a question to ask yourself. And with this Afghani, I don't know how religiously motivated his attack was, but from what we hear from the reports, he was shouting Allah Akbar when he was doing it. So even though he might have been on the right track, something must have happened, and he turned. You have the term "turn to Jesus" moment. Come to Jesus. He had a come to Muhammad moment, and it ended up with killing the infidels in his religion.
We've had many of those situations in America. You remember that doctor in the Texas in the Texas Army base there, and he
Yeah.
was radicalized. He was radicalized. I think what you're saying is that for Muslims to go from non-radicalized to radicalized is very close, and they are not being subdued. They're not being subdued. For a religion that subdues, they understand being subdued. And okay, come on, let's
I would say it's not only very close, Yishai. I will even add to what you're saying is there is forces in your religion that are pulling you, like Christianity and Judaism are generally pulling you to become a more peaceful person. You need to really go mental backflips to justify, going killing, when your religion tells you turn the other cheek. Or, "Al taseh lechavercha ma shesanu alecha." Don't do to your neighbors what is like hated on you. So you need to really go out of the way to enter a state of just unnecessary violence against humans. In Islam, it's just the other way around. The religion calls to kill the infidels. The religion calls to enslave the world and make them either kill them or make them, jizya and work as slaves for them. So a Muslim working in a modern society is kind of stuck between that. Should I listen to my prophet, who also allows marriage with 6 years olds and who calls for the killing of any human? Or should I somehow justify it? But the only difference is that Judaism and Christianity tolerate discord. They encourage it, especially Judaism. They encourage to come and litpalpel, to talk about it. In Islam, they don't leave a room for that. If you come and you say, "Oh, so you're saying the prophet was wrong," kill him as well. So that
right.
makes it very, very hard for that religion.
Let's watch some videos together and discuss them. I got a few videos that I thought would be important for you. First thing is, let's watch. Here's an interesting video for you. This is a video, somebody shooting a video of my friends. I had Gentiles, lovers of Israel, lovers of the Bible, non Jews come and help clean Hebron. Okay. There was a very dirty area, and I brought them to clean. And this a guy named Isa Amru. I don't know if you heard of him. Isa Amru. He's the Gandhi of Hebron. Okay, this guy preaches the end of Israel, the end of the occupation. He says that he wants everybody to be equal, but it's essentially he's an anti-Israel, a very slick anti-Israel activist. And he came out and he filmed these volunteers from the cowboys that came and volunteered in Hebron. Check this out.
I ask you in front of the soldiers to stop the work in my private land. I ask you again to stop the work here and leave. This is the third time.
They're cleaning.
In front of the soldier, I ask you politely to leave. As an Americans, you should not be part of the problem. You should be part of the solution.
He's
Be
literally telling him
ashamed.
to stop cleaning the land.
Don't touch our land.
So so he pu- so he so Isa Amru, he put up this video and he wrote, you see these Americans, they kicked out the indigenous American Indians, and now they're trying to kick out the indigenous Palestinians. And made a whole thing, and of course it went viral. But basically, as you could see, they were cleaning the land. They're just cleaning up garbage, just tons and tons of garbage. And also, my dear, these friends of mine who are Bible lovers, lovers of Israel from the nations. Uh, One of the main things that they can deal with, which is so hard, they deal with razor wire. There was tons of army razor wire and old razor wire, and they just got it out and cleaned this whole spot. Next week, I'm putting picnic tables there. It's just beautiful. Oh, and it looks over the tomb of the patriarchs and matriarchs. But Isa Amru can't stand it. He can't stand that beautification. What do you think about that, Mansur?
I think in general, it's silly whenever you see a Muslim telling people to get out of the land that is outside of Saudi Arabia. Let's call it for it is, guys. Islam started in Saudi Arabia. That's their place. No one can take that from them. If anyone invade that, they can come and say, hey, this is my ancestor land. Anywhere outside of that area was taken by them by force through killing and ethnically cleansing many, many religions that haven't survived until today. Many literally stopped existing because of that. So him coming right now and yelling at Jews and Christians who were there before him to get out of the land because they're cleaning the land, I think it just didn't fit with his narrative. I think he was hoping to get some kind of a viral video, and they do it all the time. Come and try to provoke some settlers, some religious people, and then everybody will jump on it because everybody loves to hate the settlers, everybody loves to hate the Jews. And suddenly he went there, but he caught the wrong video. He just caught a picnic day with families bringing their children and literally cleaning.
They
So it
they
just
they
didn't fit his
clean
narrative.
they clean so beautifully, unbelievable. Really, they have managed to help really redeem the land. It's one of the ways that the Arabs kind of conquered the land is with refuse, and then you just don't go there, and then it's no longer it's no longer. There was a horrible video. I don't have the video with me right now. There was a horrible video this week that these hikers, Israeli hikers, saw in the Hebron Hills, that Arabs, so-called Palestinians, trap birds. They trap these little birds, and the way that they do it is that they bring little bird cages, and the little bird cage of the bird that they want to trap is tweeting, and then they have nets and they catch all these birds, and such an ecological damage.
Hmm.
And it's like it's
There's actually a crazier video that I saw that shows a satellite image of what happened to agriculture when it becomes under Islam. You can literally see it from space that
mm,
the place become more desolated and more desert than compared to when it's under Christianity and Judaism. And this is just facts, guys. We're not trying to like bash any religion, just saying, you can't ignore these facts. Apparently, many of these countries, not only that they destroy the country and kill its people, they also plunder its land. But that was very much the mentality of the early Arabs, when it came to that thing. They were mostly raiders whose main
right,
source of income was not, social insurance and SP 500. It was to go and kill other people and take their wives and their children and their flock, use it as much as you can, and move and kill the next tribe. So when Muhammad came and gathered them, he just basically continued the same kind of mentality. There's so much literature actually shows pre-Muhammad and after. This is what they were doing. And it's very sad. But I want to ask you something very interesting. I don't know if that's something that you've been thinking. I interviewed the other day someone from Khalutseha Bashan,
okay, in the
the
Golan Heights.
pioneers of the Bashan. Yeah, the ones that
Yep.
wanna resettle Syria
Mm,
with Jews. And
right.
they just actually broke into Syria the other day, and the IDF took them out. And their ideology is that the only way you can ensure security for Israel is by settlements, by having people living there. And when I heard that, when I was an officer in Gaza and we were doing this engagement, I thought some of these people were delusional. I thought, come on, guys, the IDF is protecting this place, and with all due respect, it's not just because you're living here. But I can't ignore that picture when you saw that rabbi that they were dragging out and they had to sedate him a little bit, and he was screaming and he says, "You're doing a mistake. You're doing a mistake because of this. They will come to Tel Aviv. They will come to the rest of Israel." And now we all know that he was right.
Right.
Undoubtedly, disengaging from Gaza was a security strategic mistake. Undoubtedly. Giving them Gaza did not move them an inch toward peace, did not move them an inch toward a better life, and literally brought October 7 on us. And now these guys are saying, Syria belonged to us before, Hevel Bashan, Gog, Melech Bashan, and we
Og.
should go and live there. Og, I keep calling him Gog.
Gog is
Og,
is another guy.
Gog
That's
Magog,
another.
yeah.
Yeah.
So Og Melech Bashan, and he said, like, we should go and live there. And me as a Druze, I 100% agree.
Mansur, we talked about this before, but I'll mention it again. To me, one of Israel's, if I had one problem that I would deal with Israel, if I could change one thing that would change everything, is smallness. Israel has a smallness, mental thinking. Okay, it thinks of itself as small. It thinks of itself as a moral ghetto people. That if you strike at us, okay, we come out and strike you, but we go back to our smallness. They don't think of themselves as a regional hegemon. They don't think of themselves as a regional power. They don't want to control more people, nice people like the Druze. They don't want to help the Kurds. They don't want to. They want to kind of
It's a
there's the
mistake.
smallest, and of course it's a mistake. And I'll give you another example of that. Look what happens when Israeli companies become successful. They exit. They sell out. They can't deal with being too big. And the answer is, and look who the biggest sinner of that was actually Menachem Begin. Menachem Begin gave away the Sinai. Israel won the Sinai, part of it in 48, all of it in 56, again in 67, again pushed back in 73. Every time God is telling you, hold on to this land, be big. You need this for defense. You need this for oil and gas. You need this to control the 2 sea lanes. You need this for your personal defense. You're a tiny little Jewish state. You need defense. You need big borders. Okay. You need what they call defensible borders. The defensible borders are big. Okay. Look at the Druze right now. Druze turn to Israel and they say, listen, protect us, control us, make us part of Israel, or at least give us independence and confederate with us. Do something. No, we don't want to do that. Why not? Why not? You want to be big. Be big.
Be big. And I don't know if you got the video that I sent you.
Yes,
but
I have.
Right now, I know you're in the middle of the show. You might have not seen it, but something
I haven't seen it,
big.
but I'll see it with you together. Hold on one second.
Show it
Let's
now.
see it together.
Something big is happening in Syria, guys. Show this video, please.
Here we go.
Syria have just declared jihad over Israel, calling for their Bedouin tribes and their Muslim Sunnah army to go and charge into Israel. This is the same jihad that was called to go and massacre the Alawites, the same jihad that was called to go and genocide the Druze. And when that jihad was called, hundreds of thousands of Bedouins and Muslims came from all over the region and went in a blitz attack. The same thing that happened when they took over Syria. It's the same jihad to mobilize. They're literally calling for the men by the tribes. This tribe, get your men ready. This tribe, get your men ready. Calling them to come and all attack Israel. Guys, this is not a joke. Israel, ready your airplanes, ready your tanks, protect your border. Don't do the same mistake you did on October 7th. And this is officially by the government. This guy here, he works for the government. He is the right hand of Al-Jawlani. We've been warning you about this for more than half a year now, and it is happening. They're getting ready. Do not take it lightly. If Israel will be ready, they would just lay waste on them and make the world a better place by eliminating a lot of jihadists. But if Israel is not ready, we're gonna have hundreds of thousands of jihadis running all at once towards Israel. I'm not saying that to scare people, but I'm saying it because it is the reality. They're saying it. How many times do you need to say, listen to them when they say it? They're literally walking. This is all happening in one day, by the way. Different locations. All the videos that I'm showing you today, every one of them is happening in the same day in different locations, calling for the entire army of Syria, the entire
ISIS
people
flag,
in
Al-Qaeda
Syria,
flags,
to mobilize and to bring jihad over Israel. They're calling for them now.
بالراية السوداء.
ISIS Al-Qaeda flags. Now, calling for jihad.
All right, so we got a sense of this, but before you comment on this video, let me play a different video, and then you can comment on both, okay? Because maybe I'm a little confused. Check this out.
Strong leader. He comes from a very tough place, and he's a tough guy. I liked him. I get along with him. The new president of Syria. And we'll do everything we can to make Syria successful, because that's part of the Middle East. We have peace now in the Middle East. First time that anyone can remember that ever.
Great news. We have peace now. I didn't know that.
Happening. And, as you know, Syria is a very big part of the Middle East, very important part. If you look back at Syria for years, they had the doctors, the lawyers, they had so many of the great intellects. It's an amazing place with great people, and we want to see Syria be successful along with the rest of the Middle East. So I have confidence that he'll be able to do the job, absolutely. We want to see Syria become a country that's very successful, and I think this leader can do it. I really do. I think
He's talking about Jolani.
this leader can do it. And people said he's had a rough past. We've all had rough pasts.
We've all had rough pasts. I was never a member of Al Qaeda. I was never nicest guy either. So I don't know. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I was in high school. You know what I mean? I maybe smoked a cigarette, but come on. I didn't have a. I'm not a murderer, a mass murderer. That is not part of my rough past. Hold on one second.
But he has had a rough past, and I think, frankly, if you didn't have a rough past, you wouldn't have a chance. He gets along very well with Turkey, with President Erdogan, who's a great leader. Erdogan's a great leader, and very much in favor of what's happening in Syria. We have to make Syria work. Syria is a big part of the Middle East, and I will tell you, I think it is working and really well. We're working also with Israel on, getting along with Syria, getting along with everybody.
Okay, so there's Mansur Ashkar. You're a Druze. You're living in Germany. You're a YouTuber. You're a former special forces in Israel. And now you're watching President Trump say, you just released a video saying that the Syrian jihad is getting ready to march on Israel. But you see that President Trump is sitting there. And where's the video of Jolani also doing the three-pointers, shooting basketball with American leaders? And he's saying, just Jolani, he's okay. He's okay. He's a good leader. He's got a checkered past. Come on, it's fine. I mean, just a few months ago, brutalizing horrifically the Alawites, brutalizing horrifically the Druze. We're talking about thousands of people just in the most barbaric way, murdered, brutalized, beaten, and all the bad stuff. And this guy is Jolani. He's behind it. There's President Trump sitting with his red tie saying, no, he's okay. He's doing his best out there. He's a good leader. Syria is important. We hope that this guy succeeds. I could see by your facial expression that that's painful stuff.
It is painful. I mean, tell me someone told you to say something you don't believe without someone told you to say something you don't believe. Like, there is no way that Donald Trump, he's not an idiot, he's not stupid, he's a very impressive leader, he's done amazing stuff. There's no way that he believed what he just said out of his mouth. He had a rough past. I mean, come on. Donald Trump is known for someone that has a keen sense of like what is happening around him, and he's not afraid to call Islam for what it is, and to call radical jihad for what it is, and to call terrorism for what they are. And all of a sudden, an ISIS and Al-Qaeda terrorist that, by the way, never stopped being a terrorist. You see, just last week, Israel eliminated the number 2 in Hezbollah that had a $5 million bounty on his head. Jolani had a $10 million bounty on his head, so he was way bigger terrorist than that. That was a terrorist of America, by the way. America put that bounty on him. Jolani never stopped being a terrorist. All of a sudden, one day,
but he got a haircut.
He seized an opportunity, and he went and took over a country, and he continued everything that he was doing before. Killing minorities, killing people, promoting radical jihad, Salafi Sunnah, and etc. But suddenly he stopped being a terrorist, and the White House invited him and give him a golden perfume, like Saddam Hussein will give you some kind of a golden AK-47. Like, there's something is really bizarre is happening, and you can't come and call him. By the way, Israel just raided Yesterday, Israeli Tzanchanim reserve unit raided the village called Bet Jan, which is why they want to invade Israel now, by the way, where there were two terrorist brothers that were known to put IEDs and shoot missiles on IDF and were plotting apparently to invade maybe the Golan Heights. Israel went to arrest them and didn't know how big it was because when they took them out of their bed, they got jumped by about more than 20 terrorists that ran there immediately and started shooting. 4 Israelis got injured, 2 more in the fighting, and then evacuated. And then an Israeli helicopter shot a Humvee that was left behind because of the fire and etc. to not leave in the hands of the enemies. Interrogating these guys, Israel is finding out now that these two guys were involved with the government in coordination of the attacks on the Alawites and in coordination of the attack on the Druze, and now in coordinations of building a terrorist belt around the border with Israel for the future when they will want to come and invade Israel. Now, why is that happening? Why are we not seeing Syrian soldiers doing that? Because Israel told Jawlani, get your militias away from the border. We see any Syrian soldier or tank, we blow him up. We're not letting you be on our border. We know who you are. You're ISIS and Al-Qaeda. You might fool Trump. You might fool the American people. I don't think they fooled Trump. I think something else is behind the scene there. But you might fool the Americans and the Europeans. You don't fool us. So what he's doing is he's using these original, OG friends that he had from the hood from before, without uniform, and they're the ones right now who are building an infrastructure of terrorism around the border with Israel for one day to invade Israel. Meanwhile, they're ethnically cleansing Christians and Druze and Alawites in Syria, happening as we speak. And for some bizarre reason, America have became their PR agent. I mean, I understand when Tucker Carlson becomes a PR agent for dictators and mass murderers. He's been doing that for a very long time now for a very bizarre reason. But the United States of America taking that role, something weird is happening. I have my theories about it. They're a bit crazy, but
I'd like to hear your crazy theories. Let's discuss it for a second. To me, when I see President Trump doing this stuff, I think I know what's going on. I think he's trying to get everybody away from the hands of China. I think he thinks that there's only one war, which is U.S.-China. And for us, Israel, we're used to being in the middle of superpowers. It's really like Soviet Union versus America, except the weird thing is that China sells everything to America. That's like the weird plot twist here. But he thinks if I don't help them, if I don't connect with them, then they're going to fall into the hands of the Chinese. And the Chinese want to get everybody. They want to get Turkey. They want to get Syria. They want to get Qatar. They have a relationship with Qatar. He wants to get people on his side as much as possible so that he can push back against a Chinese control of this world, which Chinese control of this world is actually very, very easy to do. They're willing to give you cheap stuff. They're willing to help you build up your country. They have no moral qualms. So, he's going to do that. And I think that he sees that I think also he is in bed in some way with Qatar, with the Saudis. And I'm sure they're whispering in his ear as well. And they're probably saying to him, stick with the Syrians. He's okay. He's okay. He won't attack America. Feed him. It'll be good. And then you'll keep China away. And so it becomes this ugly circle where you're trying to keep China away, but you're basically selling out to the jihad in the meantime. And the jihad in the meantime is playing a double game. They're going to be happy to later on sell back out to China or anybody else. They have no problem with that. Them and the Chinese see eye to eye with the world, right? They want to get rid of America. And I don't think they have a problem with one another. China's big enough by itself. So that's my theory when I see, and by the way, look at another Trump jihadi moment was with Mamdani, right? He's like, I can work with this guy. What's the difference? What's the difference between Mamdani and Jolani? Okay, Mamdani doesn't have the same experience, but ideologically, it's not that different.
Muslim
right?
Brotherhood, both of them Muslim Brotherhood, yeah.
So
in one hand, he kicks Muslim Brotherhood out of the like declares a terrorist organization. On the other hand, he basically endorses a Muslim Brotherhood indoors and outdoors. So yeah, it's a game. It's a game they're playing, and it's a tough game.
You have any other
I understand
thoughts
your
about
point completely. No, so I understand your point completely about China, and I think there is here American interest, Israeli interest, and the Arab world interest, and they're not always seeing exactly eye to eye in the priority of things. For United States, undoubtedly it's a smart move to try to take allies, potential allies from China, and bring them to Team America. 100%. You know, that's just makes your team stronger, make the enemy team weaker, and they're undoubtedly not your friend. With that said and done, it's making Saudi Arabia and Turkey it feels like they became a closer advisor to Trump than Israel was before.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to remember who's your real allies and who's not. Who got your back and who, the moment that you slip, will literally leave you for the dogs. And that is something that, you know, America should be careful with that game playing. Saudi Arabia and Turkey have an interest to leave any Muslim territory under Islam and to conquer more Muslim territory. That is literally their jihad. So for them, they don't want to see Syria fall from the hand of an ISIS and terrorists. You know, undoubtedly, like you saw the flags right now. There were ISIS and Al Qaeda flags. There were the right hand of Jolani standing in the crowd, whispering as he
Right.
speaks. So
Wow.
it's not like a theory.
I mean, when you see Jolani, do you see the murderer of your people? I'm asking you straight out.
I see definitely the murder of my people. I see someone who want to murder my people twice, the Druze and the Israelis. Someone who undoubtedly is an enemy to everything that I grew up and stand for, which is tolerance, peace, coexistence between Jews, Christians, Arab, Muslim, doesn't matter what. He's the enemy of that. A friend of mine the other day asked me, if you could have clicked a button and made him disappear right now, would you do that? And I told him 85% yes, 15% no.
Wait, let me
And he asked
guess.
me like,
Let me guess. I know why. I know why. I think I know why. Because at the
no,
end, the Assad regime was even worse. And the
no,
Assad regime, and you got rid of the Assad regime through this thing. And okay, so he'll go at some point as well, but at least this horrible thing is gone now.
no,
No.
actually, no, the Assad regime was not worse. It's hard to say that. I'm hearing that from Syrians that are saying
Okay.
Assad was a drug lord, was a Pablo Escobar, Mustafa Escobar. You know, he cared about drugs and money. Yeah, and he didn't really care
His
what he put
brother
in your
was in
mouth.
charge of a massive drug business.
One of the biggest in the world. Yeah.
What
And
was it?
he didn't
Ecstasy or what was the stuff?
like cheap man cocaine and ecstasy and stuff like that. Yeah. So he didn't care about how do you pray, what do you pray, what do you put in your mouth, and how do you dress. He was just bad to everybody. Jolani
Right.
is literally doing religious ethnic cleansing. But here's what I'm saying is, and bear with me, it's a crazy conspiracy. It's the first time that I share it online, you know. So
Let's do it.
maybe I'm completely out of it. Let's ping pong. Jolani was arrested by the CIA and he was in the same prison cell with Baghdadi, the head of ISIS. They were sitting
What,
together as
Bakr al-Baghdadi?
yeah, they were friends and they were both arrested by the CIA for a while and then they got released. What if America managed to recruit Jolani then? And then told him, we're going to build your way up to be the leader of Syria one day. And you're going to be our guy. Now, crazy as it is, but how do you explain?
That's not crazy. That's CIA stuff.
Yeah, how do you explain that all of a sudden Syria collapsed, Hezbollah is crippled, and out of nowhere, Jolani just goes and raids and conquers that country out of nowhere. Boom.
Okay.
And then out of nowhere, no more bounty on his head. Out of nowhere, still playing the game of Israel. This is out of nowhere. He is reaching the house, playing basketball with the CIA and the generals that had him arrested. Meanwhile, he is the leader of Syria. And here where the crazy theory came. Syria is run by about 27 terrorist organizations. The mainstream ones are ISIS, actually 40, but it's 27 and then a subcut one. So there's like Israel have startups, Syria have terrorist, you know, pop-ups kind of. That's how it is. So Syria have about 27 terrorist organizations. The mainstream are ISIS and Al-Qaeda. The rest are even more extreme than ISIS and Al-Qaeda. They're like make ISIS and Al-Qaeda look like the moderate ones. Jolani's problem is that if he will try to bring Syria properly to Team America, Team West, and change it from within, they will kill him. Because they're already angry at him. They're actually complaining that they want Jolani maybe to be thrown as he proves himself because he's not killing enough Christian, Druze, and Alawites. That's like the Democrats in the US will elect a Democrat and then they'll complain that he's not really following up with the environmental policy that he promised.
Right.
And you sold us out for votes, but you're not really changing the climate change. So there, you sold us up for votes. You're not really killing enough Druze and Alawites and Christians. So the theory is saying that the only way for him to control Syria is by sending all these jihadists to go and charge on Israel and let Israel just wipe them out, which Israel will play the role again of, killing all the bad guys for Team Planet Earth and getting all the heat for it. The Night Watch, basically the Night Watch in Game of Thrones. They're the ones who pay the price, protect the realm, front line of defense against radical Islam jihad, and everybody hates them for that. So if there's even a slight chance that this is true, that there's some true into that, then I would not want this guy taken out of the game. But everything else is just, and that's like a bizarre thing. So again, I'm not pro Jolani. I'm not Team Jolani. I think he's a terrible terrorist. But I think if that one conspiracy theories, aliens, tinfoiled jihadist heads, then there's a big game being played here. Because how can you explain? How did he survive so long? Israel didn't take him down. Israel could have taken, he's an Al-Qaeda ISIS. Why did Israel not take him down? He took over the country, and then he goes and America is backing him up. Everybody's on his side. He didn't change anything. He never stopped being a terrorist. He never condemned it.
Well, he's not outside. We know that he's we as you said, we saw him with CIA folks. Okay, it's very, very, very plausible. I mean, the CIA basically created Al Qaeda. They helped create what's our departed friend's name? So not Saddam Hussein. Got rid of that guy. No. Who did we kill in Al Qaeda? What was his name? The number one of Al Qaeda.
Osama bin Laden.
Osama. You forget. I remembered I remembered the other guy. There's al-Baghdadi. Yeah, I like that name, Baghdadi. I thought that's a good rapper name, Baghdadi. I thought that. Yeah. Let me.
Burka.
I want to explain something about Israel that a lot of people have a hard time understanding, and I wanted to use you as a sounding board, a ping pong, as you said. Israel's a blue state. That's what people don't understand. Israel's a blue state. Jews, a lot of Jews, especially secular Jews, are blue. They're blue environmental. They're blue guns. They're on guns. They're blue. Israel has a lot of guns, but it's actually a blue state vis-a-vis guns. Mm-hmm. If you live in Tel Aviv, you basically can't get a gun. Can't get one gun. When you live where I live, you're allowed to have one gun, and if you're a part of a rapid response team, also an M16. So that's what I have. But most people don't have that, okay? So Jews are, in many ways, this country is a blue country, and it's certainly a blue country vis-a-vis economics. It's a socialist country. Now, if people understand Israel, think about New York for a second, and think about America. Blue states, red states. I've come up with the following chart. Blue states, the color blue splits into 4 colors. Blue, Democrat, becomes progressive. It splits into 4 colors. The first color is rainbow. Blue becomes rainbow. LGBT, that whole thing. Another color in blue is red, not red Republican, not red conservative, red communist, socialist. Fine. So that's 2 colors. The third color is green, green environmentalist. But green environmentalist is very close to, surprise, green jihadist. Look at Greta. Greta was green environmentalist, and within a second turned green jihad. Right? It was like a 1, 2, 3 jump. My daughter told me that they were teaching Greta stuff before she became anti-Israel. They were teaching it in Israeli schools. Why? Because Israel is a blue state. Now, just like in New York, which is a Jewish, the home of Jews in the diaspora, it's blue, but there's a strong red streak. That strong red streak is amongst believers, the Orthodox Jews, the conservative Jews, conservative values Jews. Okay. So too, Israel has got a strong red streak. Pro-nationalism, pro-guns, pro-defense, pro-Bible, anti-jihad, right? Oh, it's important to say Israel has blue that turns into rainbow. We've got plenty of that. We've got blue that turns, our country doesn't turn blue that turns into socialist communist. That's what it is. It's big time. It's blue to socialist communist all the way. We're a socialist country. We have that. We have blue environmentalism a little bit, but we certainly have blue jihadism. We have blue pro-jihadism, blue to green. We have tons of. And people don't understand that. England, which is going down, has 6% Muslims. Israel, we have a lot more than that. We have a lot of pro-Muslim type, pro-PLO, pro-Hamas, pro getting them matriculated into everything, pro them taking over the economy, pro, and feeling guilt, like Western style guilt about our colonialization. We got plenty of that. But we also have a strong red center, especially here in the mountains of Judea and Samaria. We have here people like myself. We represent, and our ministers, we represent pro-Bible, pro-guns, anti-jihad, pushback on the jihad, pro-nationalism, pro-Jewish state, and pro-Druze, pro being bigger to the point of helping the Druze, helping the Kurds, helping other people, and allying ourselves with them and pushing back on jihad together with them. Okay? I just wanted to kind of explain that to people because I see people come to Israel, they're like, what? I thought this was a religious state, but it turns out that it's a kind of secular state. I don't understand. Here you guys are, red, but other places you're blue. People get very confused. But the truth is, that's what it is. We're a blue state with a strong red streak. What do you think about that analysis?
I think it's an interesting analysis. I don't know if I agree with everything you said, but that's not the beauty about being in Israel, because I think in Israel, when people try to make Israel kind of understand Israel as if it's like America, it just doesn't work. In the left in Israel, I'm not talking the radical left, extreme left, forget about them. The left in Israel are fighter pilots, Mossad agents, Navy SEALs and Sayeret Matkal, and like one of the most badasses, like, people on the world sometimes, and the right as well. And if you go now to a Sayeret Matkal or a Shayet 13, or even just, grab Shabak split, like random 30 people in different groups, you will find religious Kippot Srugot, you will find Druze, you will find Tel Avivis. I remember when I was in the Special Forces, one of the first shocks that I had as a Druze is when we had 1 day out. We did like a mission in a city, a training, and we usually don't do that. And then we did it very early, and they told us, listen, guys, you can go and party. And that's unheard of. We're like in training. So out of nowhere, we got dressed real quick, and no one had real clothes, kind of. But I had one guy, suddenly I see him wearing a thong, and he's not gay. And he was from Tel Aviv. And I was like,
this story is getting fun. Remember, this is a family channel here, okay?
Yeah. No, okay, it's going to stop there. But I was like, but then I realized, like, we didn't even notice that he is a very small, and the other guy was very right. He's very religious. So one of
small,
the
you mean left. He's very left.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, he's very left, not very small.
Let's keep it there. Let's keep it there.
Let's keep it there. So what that made me understand is because if Israel didn't have all of the jihadistan around Israel would have probably turned to become LA. Because I think, like you said, there's a lot of socialist, Democrat, blue kind of vibe in Israel. But what happened is that pressure is keeping Israel like a diamond who's under pressure. So, because there's a lot of beauty that comes with the left. There's a lot of beauty that comes with the right. There's ugly stuff that are in the extremes. So because Israel is under so much pressure, it's actually bringing the beauty out of the left and the right in the center of Israel. So I do believe that when people come to Israel, yes, they're going to get a very different experience if they go to Yehuda v'Shomron, or if they go to Tel Aviv, or, if they go to Eilat or to Tzfat. But they will still get a much more balanced people in terms of like worldviews. Like there's not a lot of people in Israel that will tell you that Hamas is a freedom fighters, or that will tell you that Al-Qaeda is good, or Osama bin Laden is right. There's not, like, we're not that crazy yet. No. You don't have people in Israel tell you Intifada revolution is good. And they're a bit more rounded, I feel, even at the both groups. So that's what I'm saying. It's like, I don't know how to say, like, I don't even know if to call Israel blue. Like I would call Tel Aviv blue.
Right. Well, I just meant to say that in many of ways that what Americans that come to Israel, for example, that love the Bible, they come in and they're like, wait a minute. For us, Bible is also conservatism, is also pro-gun, and a lot of these things. They come in, they're like, wait a minute, Israel is actually anti-gun, kind of socialist, was very strong on right. Well, yeah, but we don't have so many of them. But there is
quite a lot of people that are pro-abortion in Israel.
Yes, definitely.
for
Right,
Christians
right.
or like religious people coming, like you're the
Right.
land of the
You,
Bible.
you know how many conservative folks came to Israel and were like thing that upset them the most was our COVID policy. They're just like, wait a minute, Israel's like a blue state, and
Yeah.
it gets confusing. But you know, you said something now that I love very much, and I just want to kind of close out with this. Um, I think one of the brands that Israel's got to produce, a brand for itself, is actually Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. That's the brand. It's actually Tel Aviv, that modern, impulsive, energetic, nightlife, creative, startup nation energy coexists and is synergized with Jerusalem, the conservative, the biblical, the ancient, the family values, the biblical values. Those things actually coexist. They're not in conflict. They feed one another. That's actually what Israel is. It is a modern happening place with crazy energy and nightlife and new thoughts. And it is a place of the temple and of the high priest and of the Bible. It actually, those are it's two great lines. And when those two great lines are parallel and they feed one another, they synergize with one another, amazing things can happen.
Hmm.
And
It's
that's go ahead.
it's beautiful what you just said, because when you think about it, I can see myself living in both places and enjoying my life.
Right.
I can see myself living in Jerusalem, which, like you said, is more conservative, more Jewish, more traditional, but it's very respectful to other religions. Very,
Yes.
very respectful, extremely, more than any place in the world, to other religions. And you'd expect from a place that is conservative and very religious not to be, but it's like extremely tolerant. With like literally, they're letting the Muslims be on the Temple Mount. That's insane. This place belongs to the Jews.
Maybe that's a
So
little too nice.
that's a little bit. That one is a little bit too nice, yeah. But in general,
Yeah.
what I'm saying is like you can really enjoy there practicing your religious, your religious freedoms and being yourself, even though it's very religious. Now, when you go to Tel Aviv, you'd expect a place that is so liberal to be full of Columbia students and really radical people that are promoting communism and jihadism, but it's not. In Tel Aviv, there's based people. That's quite so. You'd expect that liberals will be very, very open to destructive ideologies. Tel Aviv is not, compared to like the West. And you expect that a place like Jerusalem would be extremely religious, but it's not. And there's something like insane. Like, how is that working? Both places would literally be a great place for a family to move in.
That's right.
Move into Tel Aviv,
That's
you'll
right.
enjoy it. Move into Jerusalem, you'll enjoy it.
And you
You can
can
be black, you can be white, you can be Muslim, you can be Asian, like literally both places. It's quite unique.
It's a special thing. Mansur Ashkar, thank you so much for being with us. Love talking with you. You're a Druze. You're an influencer. You're also an Israeli. You're a father, a former IDF Special Forces officer. You live in Germany, which is weird, but we'll figure out one day why you're doing that. You'll have to tell me about that.
I'm
You're
still
also a
trying to
very
figure out.
you're also an excellent YouTuber, and people love your channel. And I definitely recommend that people join. Mansur Ashkar, my producer, loves your stuff. I love your stuff, and you're doing great stuff out there. And thank you so much for being a light for your people, the Druze, being a light for our people, and also your people, the Israelis and the Jewish people, and also for a healthy world. Gosh, like who wants the world to be taken over by jihadism and that darkness? Who wants that, for God's sakes? It's scary. It's scary how people have lost their inner will to live and are just succumbing to some kind of like international suicide, that they're just giving in to these dark forces to give them identity when they have lost their own. That's really sad. So thank you very much for all that you do, Mansur. God bless you out there. Keep up the good
Thank you
work.
for having me. It's always a pleasure being here, brother.
Yeah, salam and Allah ma'ak. God bless you. Thank you so much.
Bye.